I'd like to invite Marco Carrasco, now officially the Florida Healthcare Association president, to say a few words. Marco?
Let me begin by spelling my last name, Carrasco, C-A-R-R-A-S-C-O. Yep, it's been butchered in the past. Hello, fellow colleagues. It has truly been a wonderful career journey, being part of the executive committee for the last 10 years. This has prepared me for the next step as your president of Florida Healthcare Association. I'm truly blessed to serve with leaders that have truly made us grow as a profession and industry while protecting our greatest national treasure, those men and women that have laid the framework for all of us, our seniors. In the beginning, allow me to go back when I started college. It's been a couple years. Back then, I did not know what my career path would be or what my focus of study should be. I prayed about it, and I asked God for some clarity. During the time, I knew the wife of the pastor of my church. She offered me a job, my first job in healthcare, in the area of home health. Ana de Jesus was her name. She was a wonderful lady. Through there, I began to grow my wings. I learned the business, then finished my bachelor's in health service administration. Still uncertain, but well aware that I wanted to stay in the field where I laid the opportunity to make a difference, drove me to continue to pursue my master's of health service administration. At this time, I was existing and had strong knowledgeable colleagues in the field, but I was hungry to lead. My mother always said, be the head and not the tail. So I looked into it. Long-term care. During my graduate studies, I was required to look at an internship. One was for the hospital, another was for managed care, and then there was something called long-term care. After much review and investigating, I came across the following scenarios. How was I going to get to leadership? I looked at the hospital, and although it was attractive, it was going to take me 20 years. And I interviewed with high-level managers, and they explained to me that it's typically the length to get to that high-level executive. I looked at managed care. I had the opportunity to run a physician practice prior to getting to long-term care that dealt with direct managed care plans. I did due diligence and also met with high-level staffers and also shared the similar time frame, 20 years to reach that position. Came across, though, through my long-term care program at the time that all I had to do was 6 months and do an internship, and I would be the CEO of that entity. Well, I said, sign me up with no hesitation. Once you get into the administrator realm, life quickly changes. Our lives are absorbed with the constant desire to make a difference. All of a sudden, I'm responsible for 180 staff members, 180 residents, plus families. Let's not forget about DCF, ACA, company compliance, attorneys, and so on. We really come to the realization of the impact you make must be methodical and strategic. We all set out to truly reach professional satisfaction, and reviewing my career, it's not been considered work. It's been exciting, and you truly love what you do each and every day. Over the past 20 years, I feel our industry is constantly floating on top of waves. You get splashed upon here, but you certainly don't sink. I'll never forget how Governor Parkinson from American Healthcare Association identified that we had been the low-hanging fruit. And it's through the leadership of individuals such as Emmett and the exemplary team, Florida Healthcare, that truly surrounds him, that we really see our industry flourish. Our levels of protecting has never been greater. More and more of you are just taking care of the elderly persons, rather than have evolved into truly use of quality outcomes and systems to ensure safety and take credit for what we do. I'm sure all of you have heard the fact that our industry is the second highest regulated industry in the United States. Let us ponder for a moment. Every day we wake up thinking, what am I going to expect today? Think about it, administrators. Think about it, staffers. What new challenge will come up your way today? Was it the upset family member that's calling the state because we didn't meet expectations? Or is somebody calling Bob Estales because the legislator wants to know what's going on? Or are we having to report some type of allegation? Could it be another attorney letter? Or are we having to settle, even though we can prove we didn't do what is alleged? There are so many samples of daily risk management situations that will never fail to keep up at night, or keeps us at night. How many of you can remember the following? Y2K, tort reform, original PPS, Medicaid cuts, Medicaid PPS, quality measures, star ratings, PDPM, not to mention COVID-19. These are just some examples of continued changes and challenges to our industry that continues to create and force us to adapt and rise above. Folks, we're always able to adapt, but as leaders, we need to not just adapt, but thrive. Remain strategic at all times and embrace the change as the opportunity to continue to move forward. What is the dash? How many of you have read on a headstone and noticed that the often overlooked date and or years? For example, 1901 to 2001. The dash is the precious little time of life in between. Let's take a moment to reflect. When seeing these dates, do we ever wonder what they did in between the time of birth and the time they died? Did you ever wonder what did they do or what we are doing with our dash? We have a choice either to let life go by, become consumed by the daily grind, and admit that at times we might feel as if we are on a sailboat. When you set sail with no end, just floating on top of waves, we sail when we become complacent in life. This complacency impacts you spiritually, it takes a toll on the family, and it affects you professionally. And if allowed, it continues to consume your life, your current dash. Now take a step back and realize the importance of the dash. How many of you have lost loved ones to cancer, or to another disease or condition, or to an accident? How about more recently to a virus such as COVID-19? Life is a precious gift and to be valued and appreciated daily. I've made a conscious decision to refuse to settle, to sail, and to allow complacency. I simply refuse to live this way. I demand to be an active participant in my life and in the life of others. I want to be active in my children's life. I want to remain hungry to grow and serve in my professional life. I want to positively impact others. So if we all understand that we all come with a very short, precious lifespan, what are you doing with it? You get an uncomfortable diagnosis. What do you do? How do you change your life? Or how about other lives that change because of a loss of a loved one, a broken relationship, a divorce? What changes do you do now? Can you still adapt? Allow me to provide you a simple but effective suggestion. Live it up. Live to the fullest and let everybody know how much you love them. Your parents, children, family, friends, the people that you're blessed to make and that are making part of your life. Your beautiful, precious, maybe stressful, often complicated, but always unpredictable dash. Choose to be relevant. Choose to impact others. Here's an example of some of the things we can do. Your staff. Be on the lookout for someone that needs help. Offer help. Listen to your staff. Choose to brighten their day. When their spirits are down, don't wait for someone to be noticed, to ask, to act. Take the lead. When your dash is running out, and let's be realistic, all our dashes are going to run out. You can truly be fulfilled with your legacy, so your dash can continue. If the proper seeds are planted, you will surely harvest a fruitful bounty. Your time is precious, and it's my fight. Been there, got the t-shirt. I became a statistic this year. Allow me to share part of my COVID-19 story and what I've learned. There are sometimes need for help and support. First and foremost, I would like to recognize that my girlfriend, Marilyn Fernandez, was the one who took care of me while I was ill, and I would have found it very difficult to have survived without her. Compassion and the care that she provided during the most vulnerable time in my life. I love you for that. Realize that we cannot do much when you get sick all of a sudden and you find out who really worries about you. Who cares? Who is willing to stay in your corner regardless of risk or hazard? Part of the thought process is saying goodbye. Reality hits that on the way to the hospital, I actually wrote my last wishes in the event that I'll become incapacitated. My O2 oxygen levels had dropped to 81%, and I had what was called happy hypoxia. I didn't know what it was what to do, and what was truly concerned about the possibility of not making it out of the hospital. Called my son, my daughter, in case I would not be able to talk to him again, and told them that I loved them very much. Did the same for my sister, my friends, Carlos and Steve, as well. I was ready. I was, once again, and maybe for the last time, I feared adapting, the fight, what I went through. During my fight, I had multiple symptoms, and eventually it complicated, as COVID often does, with bilateral pneumonia. I had never been this sick, this weak, or this helpless. I reflected on my father and mother. May they rest in peace. My father's passing, the watch. The watch is a symbolic part. When I was actually doing his eulogy, I had gotten a watch for him for his birthday. He passed away in July, a couple months after his birthday, and I was given the opportunity to talk, and I showed the watch, and it was about time. This is when you give somebody a watch, you perceive that you're always going to be there for them, or they're going to be there for you. And at that time, when I gave him the watch, I thought I was going to have him for another year, and I didn't. My mother's passing, what did I learn? I wanted to thank Emmett, because Emmett was there when I had my mother's passing, and I got to read a eulogy that I created that morning. And at the end, I had one of the people that were there actually came up, and she asked me for a copy of the eulogy. She goes, those words were for me. And in retrospect for both, it was a message for someone else. So I hope this stash is for someone else that needs to hear it. Words are driven by the heart and inspired by God. So in overcoming adversity, what I learned, brand new lease on life. Live peacefully, love plenty, forgive often, and don't forget to enjoy the beauty of every sunrise and every sunset. What about you guys? What's your dash? What are your setbacks? Somebody experienced a termination, divorce, COVID, being diagnosed with a terminal diagnosis or an illness. How do you handle those setbacks? Do we really allow them to set us back? Do we use time to reconnect and reflect on what is truly important? Is there anything you get out of this today? Please make a to-do list. Now, go in and write your own dash. Live each day as if it was your last, because one day it will be. I want to give you an inspiration for my dash. Let me tell you about my brother from another mother. Steve Hernandez had his share of setbacks. Imagine a minute having back pain, only to be told that the next you have a tumor that spreads to your lung. What would you do? Fight. It's now been 7 years later, and Steve Hernandez has managed to fight cancer, adapt, thrive, a blessing to others, and he is living the dash. Let me show you a picture of his tumor. Let me also show you a picture of him. Today, my good friend and brother is cancer-free and in remission and is living his dash. So what is Steve doing? He realigned his priorities, his focus, his family. Simply, he has a new lease on life. But also he had bought a boat and a little Porsche, a little car. I know that some of these pictures showed material things, but to point is not long ago that he was preparing for his untimely potential death. The point is that he's blessed enough to be allowed to live his life. Steve is truly living his dash with a clear understanding of its fragility and beauty. What about me? Well, my friends and esteemed colleagues, now I'm living the dash. As I stand before you, I would like to thank God for all our precious dashes. I would like to thank the association, and I thank each and every one of you. I will continue to ask God for guidance and will continue to do so as I embark on this new role. Asking that if I accomplish anything, is that I will remain humble, kind, and I never take for granted all those many blessings. So as I ask you, what are you doing with your dash? And here's a couple of pictures of my kids, my girlfriend, and our sunset. Thank you very much, and may the Lord continue to bless our association and all our heroes in healthcare. Thank you.